Hey, boys and girls, it's Mr. Mac. Today we are going to be reviewing and newly learning, Module 4, Lesson 3 for evaluating numerical expressions, which for us is going to mean we're going to be talking about the order of operations. To review the order of operations, okay, I'm going to show you two different ways that some people have remembered order of operations. Okay, one of which is by PEMDAS, PEMDAS. Other teachers also might call it GEMDAS. Okay. So I will put both of these up here for now, just in case you've seen either one. All right, GEMDAS. All right. So the PEMDAS is more commonly understood because it's the idea of please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, which some of you may have heard before, right? P standing for parentheses. All right, E standing for exponents, M being multiplication, multiply, D being divide, A being add, and then S being subtract. Now, one of the things that's a very common misconception, and actually let me do the GEMDAS first. GEMDAS, the only difference is the G, which would be for groupings, because sometimes in the groupings, instead of just parentheses like these, you might also see brackets. Brackets like these, or braces like these. All right, so I wanted to show that. It's still the same idea, okay, but I just wanted to make sure to give you both of those examples. And what I'll do is I'll actually just move all the rest and just leave the G there so that you also know that there's not just parentheses, but it's also the other examples as well. Okay, so when we're looking at these, one of the biggest things that people forget, or not even forget, don't even understand, is multiplication and division and addition and subtraction. We put them in little brackets like that because we need to make sure that whichever comes first in the problem, you're doing first. So, for example, if we had a problem that was only division and multiplication problems, okay, you wouldn't just do the multiplication problem first because M comes first in PEMDAS. Multiplication and division are best friends, right? So if division comes first, that one goes first. If multiplication comes first, that comes first. So for an example, if I said 16 divided by 8 times 2, okay, you're not just going to do 8 times 2 first because multiply comes first. Absolutely not. Your division would come first in this problem, so you would do 16 divided by 8 is 2, and then you would multiply by the 2 and get a 4. Now, in some problems, it may not make a difference. This one, it definitely does, because if you did 8 times 2 first, that would give you 36, and you can't tell me that 16 divided by 36 would give me 4. All right. So make sure you understand that with the order of operations, multiplication and division, they're best friends. So whoever comes first goes first. All right. Same with addition and subtraction, guys. If you had 6 minus 5, let me change it. 6 minus 3 plus 1. Okay. You're not going to do addition first just because it comes first. You're going to do 6. I'm sorry, you're not going to, here, let me rephrase. You're not going to do the addition first because in PEMDAS it says to. They are neighbors, they are best friends. So you're just going to do the 6 minus 3, which is 3, and add the 1, which would be 4 again. All right, now if you did it the other way, you would have 3 plus 1 is 4, and then 6 minus 4 is 2, and that would not be the correct answer there. A lot of our parents even have trouble with this. A lot of social media sites always post these types of problems and say, oh, are you smarter than a 5th grader? Solve. And most of the time they get it wrong. This is your chance to be the bright star, the shining moment, right? So that's what we're going to spend today reviewing. So I magically made all those numbers disappear, but I'm going to leave this little note up here and the brackets with the multiply and divide, add and subtract, just as a reminder, right? Because sometimes we can tend to forget when we start working on these problems. So it says, Mr. North's Music Club writes a song together. Each verse of the song has 6 lines, and each chorus has 2 lines. lines. If the song has 4 verses and choruses, how many lines does the song have in all? Okay, so each verse has 6 lines. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And each chorus has 2 lines. So there's our picture to represent the verses. And I'll put a little V here. And this is the chorus, because just as a reminder for verses and choruses. So now it says the song has 4 verses and choruses. How many lines does the song have in all? Okay, so we need to figure out what are we going to do first for this problem. And there are a couple ways that you could solve this problem. But if we wanted to say, okay, we know that we need this 4 times, we could say, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there's 8. So I did 6 plus 2, right? And then I need to multiply that value by 4. Now, if I left it like this, okay, this would mean that I was multiplying first and then adding. But that's not the case, because I want to know this first. I need to know this number first. Okay, so for this example, I would say 6 plus 2 in parentheses, and I would multiply that by 4. Now, we also could have multiplied each of these by 4 individually. We could have also said, let's do 6 times 4, and then we're going to add that value to 2 times 4. Okay, either way, we're going to end up with the same answer in this problem. But this top example is a very good lesson in order of operations, because we now know this has to be done first before we multiply by 4. Well, why is that? Because we're adding these to get all the total lines in. If you just did 2 times 4 in this problem, all you would be doing is saying that there are 4 choruses, and there would still just be 1 of the verses here, because 2 times 4 would give you 8, and then that would be how many total choruses you have. And this 6 is still just adding on 1 verse, but in the problem it tells you need 4. So we've given a visual model here to show exactly what we need to show. And then I also wrote out a very good numerical expression here for us to solve. Okay, so we're going to move on to another example here. And this example that I'm doing now is going to be a little bit lengthier. So I don't have my PEMDAS or my GEMDAS anymore. So I'm just going to put I'm going to do a sticky note this time. I'm going to say GEMDAS, just as a reminder that we have that GEMDAS that we need to follow. The grouping, the exponents, the multiplication, division, and then the addition, subtraction. All right, so let's look at this question here. It says, a club is making a music video. A group of 12 singers performs the first verse. 3 different groups of 6 singers perform the other 3 verses. The numerical expression 12 plus 3 times 6 models the situation. How many singers are making the music video? Okay, so it says which operations are modeled in the numerical expression of 12 plus 3 times 6. We see addition and multiplication. So the big question is, what are we going to do first? Do we do the addition first, or we do the multiplication first? And when we think about the GEMDAS steps, the group, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction, we want to make sure that we are multiplying before addition, because M comes before A in this problem, right? So in our example of 12 plus 3 times 6, this needs to be done first. So 3 times 6 would be 18. So when it says to describe how it's evaluated, you would say first you do 3 times 6 is 18, and then you're going to add 12 plus 18, which is going to give you 30 as your answer. So we evaluated, we got 30, and that means that 30 singers will be making the music video there. So this is an example where they give you the expression and they're just asking you to solve. Just make sure that when we are doing the order of operations, we're doing the group numbers, so parentheses and exponents, then multiplication, division, like I said, best friends forever, and then addition and subtraction, best friends forever. Okay? Hopefully this helps you guys with our lesson today. Best of luck with today's lessons.